T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
You're now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy MJ. What is good, everybody? It's just for Saturdays, guys. Get extra dabby in here. If this is your first time tapping in, what is good? I'm your boy MJ. Do your boy a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single podcast I drop here every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Possibly more. I'm not fucking around. I might even drop more. I'm not kidding. Not sure what day, but stay tuned. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday. How's everyone doing out there, man? Shout out to everyone out there tapping in. Shout out to all the early birds. I see you guys. I'll get to you guys in just a second. You guys know how we get things started on this podcast. You feel me? Number one, wrote it, thawed company in the game. Cold Blooded Cafe, $30 flat rate shipping, straight to your doorstep. Check them out on Instagram. Go to your website, place your order today. Shout out to Steven, shout out to Desiree. Number one in the game by far. Shout out to Sim Container. If you got eggs, put them in the Sim box. Less steps, less stress. If it's a sim, it's a win all day, every day. Shout out to John, shout out to Alex, shout out to Steven and Ashley. Oh my God, guys, guess what? If it sounds a little more echoey in my room, it's because I got rid of a lot of old type racks in this room and everything is fucking upgraded. That's right. I'm sitting in my goddamn new podcast room full of focus cube habitats. What does it look like? You're gonna have to wait. But I'm looking at it, and goddamn, it is very player. Shout out to Steven, shout out to Ashley. Once I reveal my room and how sick everything looks, you're going to be all over this shit. I'm telling you right now. So don't even wait for it. Don't wait for me to drop this reveal of how my room looks. Go over to Focus Cube Habitats, place an order. I'm telling you right now, nobody is fucking with Focus Cube Habitat. Number one PVC built enclosure company in the game by far, and I'm going to prove it. You'll see. I'm telling you right now, everything else is just simple as shit. This shit overtaking the game. I'm telling you right now. Shout out to Jesse and the entire Freedom Breeder crew. If you got a Freedom Breeder rack, you know where it's at. Number one stainless steel racks made in the United States since the 90s. Appreciate you, Jesse. Cannot wait to hang out with Jesse and some of his Freedom Breeder crew at Trap Fest next month. What a time that's going to be. Shout out to my boy Miguel. Always evolving pythons. Always inspiring. Always killing the game. Head over to Morph Market. Check out his availability. More importantly, go to Instagram. Give him a follow and go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Thank you for your support, Big Dog. Shout out to the entire AP family. Have fun in Vegas. My boy Alan from Amazing Basins, very dialed in, very passionate. shoo-in with this species of snakes here. Make sure you go over to Instagram, go give him a follow, see what he has going on with these basins. I'm telling you, this guy's no joke. Also has amazing ball python projects cracking off right now. He just showed me a picture earlier this week of his first clutch. Double recessive, let's just say that. Killing it. It's my boy Alan over at Amazing Basins. Appreciate your support, big dog. Shout out to Blake Stewart over at Stewart Design. If you want to invest in your brand and fucking take it to the next level on some Cabelka and some reach out reptiles, some cold-blooded cafe type shit, dude, this is it, man. Next level marketing, next level branding at its finest. Professionals type shit. Stewart Design. Head over to SD Identity on Instagram. Head over to their website. If you really are doing this for a full time, you need to consider investing with the best, and that's yourself. So check it out. Stewart Design. Shout out to my boy Blake Stewart. Shout out to Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. Just got confirmation that my boy Mark Bailey is coming to Trap Fest with a couple other homies. It's gonna be amazing. I cannot wait. But either way, thank you so much to the OG, triple OG. Please go give him a follow. Go give him a follow on Morph Market. Check out his availability. Because I forgot you could follow people on Morph Market now. Really awesome, cool, neat little tool that John implemented for I don't know how long now. But either way, check him out. Mark Bailey Reptiles. That's my dog. Appreciate you, Mark. Cannot wait to hang out with you. And then shout out to the leaders of the industry, Reptile Super Show, #1 show on the West Coast. My boy Rami. Thank you so much, Rami, for everything that you do. My homie Rami just dropped off some sick ass signs for the Anaheim show and whatnot, and I have them all up in my yard. So definitely letting the neighborhood know that I'm a reptile family guy. That's for sure. Appreciate you, Rami. Thank you so much. Cannot wait to hang out with you here in the near future. And then shout out to the NARBC Super Bowl of reptile shows, Bob Ashley, Brian Potter. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. I appreciate your support. Cannot wait to go to the next NARBC. I know Schaumburg's around the corner. So, guys, I hope you guys are going to Schaumburg. Please kill it for me. If you not make it, but, guys, kill that shit for me. I will be at Arlington. That's for damn sure. But, yes, appreciate those guys. And then do me a favor, guys. Go to US ARC. If you're not already a member, become a US ARC member. Join the team. Join the fight. Let's fuck these people up. I'm just kidding. Well, I was aggressive. Just saying, don't fuck with my animals. Don't fuck with my animals. You won't get no smoke. But for you out there, if you're like me and you want to protect your animals, then, dude, go down to US ARC because this is what they do. Appreciate anyone out there who supports US ARC. More importantly, I appreciate Phil Goss for everything that he does and all the US ARC team that surrounds Phil Goss. Thank you so much. And then go subscribe to their YouTube channel too, please. Appreciate everyone who follows me on Instagram. But if you don't follow me on Instagram, you're sleeping on yourself. I'm very active on Instagram. So please go give me a follow. MJ Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E. I post a lot of my projects up there. Everything with all the animal stuff, all stuff that I work with. I'm very active and I post stuff on that Instagram. So appreciate all my followers and please go give me a follow. And then please follow the podcast's Instagram page, Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. See the Twitch viewers going up. If you would like to support this podcast more than a like or a subscription, I appreciate any super chats that you guys want to go and send. If you have a question for the homie Michael Graham, over at Blackheart Exotics, and you really want to get this question out, please send a super chat and I will definitely display it and we will get that question answered. Other than that, any donations you guys like to send, please shoot them over to PayPal, man. I appreciate it. Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E. Thank you so much. Last but not least, my Patreon fucking members, my family, La Familia. Love you guys. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members. You guys are really my biggest motivation. If you out there would like to get more out of what we do in this hobby, more than the podcast, if you want to tap in behind the scenes, if you want to meet all the trappers and shit like that and see what we got going on in the Discord, don't waste any time because you could go down to the link below, join the Trap Talk Patreon family today and tap into the Discord. Then you get special invites to special events. I'm telling you, it's going to go down. Either way, appreciate any support. Appreciate all my recurring viewers, even the ones that don't subscribe. Jeez, weirdos. But anyways, I appreciate anyone who shows this podcast any ounce of support. Really means a lot. And like I said, my Patreon members, you guys are my heart. All right, what is good? Who's ready to crack shit off? It is time. Saturday coffee and dab session. Who is here in the building? Let me get my coffee. Right now. All right, I know I have to have some Canadians in the building because it's about to go down. Heath and Hatchery, what is good? Dabs are being done, and I have the day off. Well, good for you, bro. Smoke until you can't fucking see straight. Well, that means because you went to sleep. Mason Johnson, what is good? Oh, by the way, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. I appreciate you, doggy. Mason Johnson, what is good, big homie? Trap Talk Patreon fan member all day, every day. The homegirl, Robust Reptiles, Trap Talk Patreon fan member all day, every day. The homie, Foster in the building. Canada, here he is. Foster, ladies and gentlemen. Big, savage Foster. Genetic intuition. Thanks for being here, player. I appreciate you. The homie Mike, 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Hella VIP. The homie Nate Dogg in the building, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. How's your clutch looking, buddy? Congratulations. The homie Brandon Hernandez. What is good, Brandon Hernandez? Thanks for tapping in. The homie Kevin Bateman from Force Python. Thank you for being here, player. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Jacob. What's up? Good to see you. Fucking one of my management team members here. Thank you, Jacob. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Trap Talk management team. Appreciate you, Jacob. Jaffe. I want to say Jaffe. Like, what is the from a scary movie? Is it Duffy? That's what I think when I think of that name. Anyways, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying. Jaffe, what is good? Thanks for being here. Oh, what is good? Alex and Sandra, Florida-born exotics. We have a phone conversation appointment tomorrow, okay? Yeah, we're going to talk. Don't worry about it. Got you guys. Jake Hole, what is good? By the way, Trap Talk Patreon members all day, every day. Jake Hole, congratulations. This guy just got his first clutch, first ball python clutch. Very proud of my guy right here. Go over to Instagram. Go see what it is once he posts it. It's nothing light. That's my boy Jake Cole, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Congratulations. Jay Hendo, what is good, player? Trap Talk Patreon members all day, every day. Let's see who else is there. Wise Guy, what is good, Wise Guy? Christian, what is good? Morphin Endorphins, big time, big player, Canadian in the building. That's my dog right here. Cannot wait to be hanging out with this guy soon. Not going to give you too much info, but I'm going to be hanging out with this guy really, really soon. Jason AKR, what is good, Jason? Will's hella heat, what is hella happening? Thanks for being here. Let's see. My Kryptonite. Oh, what is good, homegirl? My Kryptonite in the building. Another Canadian big player in the building. Hector Garcia, what is good? Cuddle Time Critters, what is good? The homie Patrick Rose in the building. Living Oddities TV, what is good? And yeah, we're going to end it with the homie. Oh, what do you know? Look who's in the building. The Whole Back Rack podcast. One of my favorite podcasts is currently in the Reptile game. Please go over to YouTube right now. Subscribe to their podcast. They're not, they're awesome. Trust me. Go check it out. Thank you so much, Jessica, if that's you. Appreciate you. And if it's your co-host, forget her name, thank you. I appreciate you. Anyways, guys, here we go. Let's go. Trap Talk, Coffee and Dab sessions about to go down. Again, we have another Canadian player in the house because you know why? I like Canada. I fuck with Canada. I can make this Saturday thing where I just bring nothing but Canadians on. How about I fucking do that? I do whatever the fuck I want. Just kidding. I'm very hyper. I'm really excited because, like I said, I've had a crazy week. A lot of builds, a lot of like, man, I had a really good taste of the kind of stress keepers go through where they're constantly like doing builds, like basically bar check, like on, like just, remodels and just adding shit right on top of taking care of animals. Man, it's a stressful time. Anyways, I'm just happy that all my builds for the most part are done. Got to install a couple more lights and then I'm good. And then I'll be getting down to fucking the vlogging and shit like that. But anyways, guys, I'm ready to rock and roll. Here we have my boy Michael Graham from Black Heart Exotics tapping in from Canada. So give it up for the homie Mike. What is good, Michael Graham?
What's going on, guys?
How you living?
Thanks for having me on. I'm living well, man. I'm living well.
Thanks for being here. How do I say? Am I coming in okay? Can you hear me okay?
You're coming in great. Yep.
Perfect. Listen, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. How's everything going? First off, what part of Canada are you at? If you don't mind just telling me what part of Canada you're in.
No, we're in Ontario, London, Ontario, probably 2 hours from Toronto.
Dang. So you guys are like, a lot of you guys are close to each other. Like from who I know you guys are spread out. Like a lot of breeders are spread out, but there is a lot of people in that specific area that you just mentioned.
In this little 2 hour hub, there's a few hundred of us, and then you start going a couple hours in each direction and you run into a few less, but all the way up to Montreal, I'm visiting homies all the way every time I go. So we are spread out, but there's a thick amount of us in this area.
I love it. I love it. All right, man. So let's, one thing I want to know is as far as how far back, the brand goes for you, like when did things lead to you actually becoming Black Heart Exotics?
So in 2013, I started Cold-Blooded Canadian Constrictors, and I chose that name because we were doing educational programs as well, and it was kind of a cool, catchy name for schools and for parties and whatnot. But I had good friends who couldn't remember that four-word name, cold-blooded Canadian constrictors. They would mix it up in every which way you could. And after 2-3 years of rocking that name, I got fed up of that. So I came up with a new name, and I got a snake named Blackheart. So Blackheart Exotics, and off we went. So probably 5 or 6 years now I've been rocking the name Blackheart Exotics, but I've been breeding since 2013. Damn,
that's what's up. And I'm curious what the motivation was to even want, because it's everyone has a story, right? And I can't help but to want to know what led you to want to even consider having snakes breed for you and whatnot. Was this something, or was it part of your life as a kid, or how did it kind of stumble into your life? That's what I want to know.
So I got ball pythons in my memory going back to 10 years old. We lived up in the Arctic when I was young, and my dad had a ball python up there. So they've always been around. When I was 16, I got my first ball python. Quickly switched it up to a Burmese ball python, to a Burmese. And I had that for several years, and it was just a hobby back then. Got out of it, worked my ass off for a few years. Maybe 2011, I got my son a ball python, and I had to get myself one as well because they're cool as shit. And I think maybe a year later, I bought another one, and it just happened to be Gravid, and I didn't know when I bought it. So that kind of kicked off my addiction for it. I hatched out a bunch of, they were just cinnamons, but it was pretty cool shit. So I sold all the cinnamons for $120 a piece, reinvested that money. Next thing, reinvested, and I've just been rolling it for the past 10 years or whatever.
So it was really getting that Gravid female that you had no clue that was Gravid, basically.
Yeah, it was exciting, man. I had to all of a sudden go out and get an incubator overnight, start messaging people, because I was on my own. I didn't have any mentors or anything, so I had to message anybody I did know. And dude, what the fuck? What do I do here? And it was addictive right off the bat. Just the research of it was addictive. I enjoyed getting into it real deep online and researching everything about it. And from there, it just, you know how it goes.
It's crazy the power of knowledge in this industry, what it could do for you, because I just, I have a homie of mine who basically gave me stepping stones of where I'm at today. Literally the first stepping stones ever. I don't want to call him a kid, but when I did meet him, he was only like 19 at the time. That was like 5-6 years ago. But he's still to this day, he comes over, helps me out whenever I really need it. And I was just telling him how, like, dude, like before I met him off Craigslist, right? So this was all because of Craigslist. I had, like I said, like my story I've said before, I was in a place in my life where I wanted to get the fuck out of it, and I got a snake, which led to another snake. But by the time I met him, I already had 4 snakes. No intentions of breeding. I was just like, these are the fucking sickest pets ever, and I liked them. You know what I mean? But then I met him. I forgot what snake I bought off him, and he came over to my house. Oh no, it wasn't even, dude. It was a rack, bro. I needed a rack because I had these in tanks. That's exactly what it was. So I had these snakes in tanks, like every other fucking noob, right? Like who has no clue what they're doing. And I'm from the, I had snakes raising in the 90s, so everything was in tanks, right? So here I'm thinking tanks is the way, but then I'm like, I find out there's a rack, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? So I start, Craiglisting racks, and sure enough, this guy had a rack for sale. But then when he came over to drop it off, we talked for like 2 hours in my driveway about breeding, and he basically just laid it all down on me. And he's like, I actually have a breeder. I have a female that's ready to breed in like this coming year. She's 1,000 grams, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow. And I was like, I couldn't believe like what he was telling me, but all I knew, I was like, I need to research this, and that's what it was like. Like everything was just, like what happens, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, it would have never happened if I would have never met that dude, and like he would have laid, like, I don't know why he was like, I need to tell this guy all this. He did. I mean, I'm sure he had shit to sell, right? And that's probably why. But like, holy shit, man, that piece of information, it led to what I'm at today, because I had no clue, no fucking clue whatsoever, and I still had no clue well after that for like 2 years, and I was just adding snakes, which I don't recommend, you know what I mean? But how was I have to ask you, because after you got that clutch and you sold what you had, what was your game plan after that? Like how did you like pick up snakes? How did you add stuff? Like what were you doing?
So my first couple moves were kind of rudimentary. I didn't know much. Like I said, I was learning everything off BHB. So whatever BHB showed as the more for the day, that was the coolest shit to me. So I turned around, I bought a pinstripe, bred that pinstripe, sold all the babies. Everything I ever bred, I turned a profit on and made a bunch of money and bought something else with it. And it was small, simple projects to begin with, pinstripes, Mojaves, cinnamon, stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe 2-3 years in, I jumped albinos and pieds and something like that. But I got a similar story to yours, to where I didn't know this thing existed. I had 40, 50 corn snakes. I had a boa constrictor and a few ball pythons at the time. And I was buying a ball python off this kid off Kijiji, Ryan Gray, shout out. And he happened to know some of the old school breeders, and I didn't know there were old school breeders. I didn't know anything about this shit. So he introduced me to Chris Towers. Chris Towers is a big name up here. He's a big name worldwide. And
I know Chris Towers. That motherfucker's on my hit list. Chris Towers, come on this show, dude. Come on this show.
Twist his arm, bro.
Chris Towers, please. Like, I had him like 2 years ago. He was like, dude, he's like, give me another month or something. And I don't know if he just probably found out something like from it, because you understand, like I would say there's like 20%, maybe bigger, of population breeder Canada that does not like me. So I don't know if he's tapped into any of those people, but if you can, dude, Mike, please talk to. I would love. Chris Towers is a heavy Canadian breeder I've not had on this show, and I'm trying to get him on this show. So that would definitely help me out.
He's cool with you. I was talking to him just a couple of days ago, and something came up at that time. There was some stuff going down, and he just couldn't do it. So, but he will.
No rush then. No rush. I'm glad to hear it, because I do listen. Chris Towers, continue though. Chris Towers, that guy's a G.
Yeah. So he fast tracked me, man. Like when I went to the expos, I knew nobody, and Chris knew everybody, right down to the security guards at the door. So just everybody was coming up to me. Hey, Mike, good to meet you. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. And I met everybody in a real short amount of time. I got to see snakes I wouldn't normally see till you're 5-6 years into this thing. I got the inside scoop, so it was really good meeting him, and that's what got me to where I am right now. I think I would be half as far as I am right now if I hadn't met Chris. So shout out Chris.
That being said, what was going on in your life? You know, I mean, you had a 9-to-5 at this time, so I mean, you're this was just a hobby from the beginning, right? As far as what was happening, it wasn't really just you trying to make money or anything right off the bat.
No,
right?
no. When I got in, so just before I got in, I had 2 of my own roofing companies, and I had a shoulder surgery. I shot myself through the foot. My left knee was really giving out from 17 hours a day on the roof, working my own roofs for years, and it just went downhill, and the shoulder got real bad. The surgery was botched, so I ended up spending 7 years trying to get this shoulder fixed. So disability for 7 years trying to figure out the shoulder. They never could fix it. So eventually I just dropped that, and I got to figure something else out in life. So I went through all my life savings from the 2 roofing companies I had owned, and I was just broke as shit, living off $100 groceries a month. And those first couple snakes, they were just fun. And it's not much, but when you sell a snake for $120 and you're spending $100 on food, $120 is good. So I was happy to make a clutch of 6 or 7 snakes where I made $700 or something. So I'd keep $200-300. I'd reinvest in Eugene or something like that. So it literally helped chip me to where I am now, to where 2020, I probably made between the rats and the snakes over $100,000. So I went from $100 extra per month to $100,000 just doing this.
I mean, like, if it's one thing I can't help but to just give this industry so much credit for is how it taught me patience. And I don't know patience. Like, I'm a very impatient person, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things I'm not proud of, but it is who I am. I'm just an impatient person. But when you really want something and you understand there's a process behind it, you kind of have no choice but to submit to being patient. You know what I'm saying? But this was like the kind of taste of pain. Like, it's hard to force somebody to be something that they're really not good at being. But like, this was the way for me to learn about patience. I don't know how I would have learned any other way, to be honest, because I wasn't getting it any other way. Jiu-jitsu. Okay, jiu-jitsu, definitely. Jiu-jitsu, ever since joining jiu-jitsu last year, definitely taught me patience as well. But like, I was ready for that because of the snakes. The snakes gave me my foundation of patience to this day. And to this, like, I don't even like stress. I mean, yeah, there's things I get unfortunately upset about when something rolls or something doesn't happen. But like a clutch in the incubator or something that hasn't like ate, I don't really stress any of that shit, because I just know that's just a part of the game, especially a snake not eating. Like, I used to really beat myself up if a snake wasn't eating. And I used to just really get down. But honestly, like that's just so fucking common. And honestly, a snake will eat when it wants to eat. So, and that helped with my being patient. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, 100%, man. Teaches you a lot of patience. And
Yeah.
and it's a constant learning process. I'm however many years in, and I'm making mistakes this year that I never even thought about. So it's like you were saying.
Okay, so this is one thing that I admire other projects that I have going on other than ball python stuff, because nothing against ball python breeders who've been doing this for a long time, but for the most part, you don't hear too many experienced ball python breeders coming on talking about mistakes they made, because not to say that they make mistakes, but once ball python's fucking very routine, you know what I'm saying? Once you have it down, it's like fucking clockwork, you know what I'm saying? And there's other projects, other species that it just doesn't work like that, you know? And a lot of those type of breeders, like green tree python breeders, emerald tree breeders, super dwarf retic breeders, all those people have had really terrible experiences, or they've learned really hard lessons that they don't mind sharing. And not that ball python breeders didn't have really crazy experience, but it doesn't just keep happening. Like, there's something about chondros and emeralds that constantly will always break your heart. Like, no matter how good you are at breeding it, there will be something that will happen either to the adult snake or to the baby, and it would make you want to just throw the towel in. I'm telling you right now, it's constant going on. So I respect the fact that people fucking are going through failures and sharing it, because that is what you need to go through in order to surpass certain levels in this. Like, you have to approach failure as something that's a good thing, you know? I mean, you just don't want to repeat it. Like, repeat failure is kind of like, whoa, like, all right, dude, like you shouldn't be overheating your rack every single time, you know? Like, that's a one-time thing. Like, please be careful. And dude, I did that a lot. Like, you know, not having the probe where I, you know, had, like, I thought I had it in a good space, but it fell off, and like, oh, you know, just stupid shit. Like, you know, just not really being on top of it. So, you know, I don't know. I like I said, I give everything to this game, to the patience and just learning to accept failure. You know what I'm saying? It's what it's all about, bro. It's the only way that makes you grow is by failing. I mean, it is what it is.
I tell everybody about my mistakes because I don't want to see people make them. This was such a stupid mistake on this rack here. So I got 350/40s in this room, and I bought all new Herpstat 4s for them, trying to do the right thing. I had Herpstat 4s, but they were old and they were looking dingy, and I wanted something new that was gonna for sure work, right? So I had this one here wired on the left side, and I had it open to the air over here, and it worked perfect for several years. Well, I upgraded when I put that. I thought I'm going to put some styrofoam over here to block off any door coolness when you open and close the door. And I'm going to put the probe on the other side for whatever reason. I don't know why I did that. But this wall over here is the outer wall. There's a cement wall behind that, and it radiates cold. And it was particularly cold this winter. So the probe being over here, it's trying to get up to 89 degrees, and there's cold radiating at it. So it's constantly on. It's keeping these tubs at 89, but over on this side where there's no radiating cold, and now there's styrofoam at the side, it was raising the heat to where you put your hand in here and it was hot. And it probably took me a month to figure it out, because this rack has been running great for years. And it took 4 or 5 clowns reabsorbing, and then I noticed a couple of them going in the shed repeatedly. So shed, 1 week later going in the shed again with a snake that hadn't eaten in several months. So it made no sense to me, and I just went into panic mode, started sticking my arm in between here. Oh shit, that's hot. Went over here, well, that's normal, and realized my mistake right away. And it was a stupid mistake, but I cooked the follicles out of 10 clowns, ODs, all types of cool shit. But like you say, the learning process, I've been through so many ups and downs in this that my heart literally didn't skip a beat. I turned to the rest of the room. I thought, dude, you still got 30 clutches. You're fucking good. So even though I lost 20 this year, and I lost some really good shit, man, Jag clown stuff, all types of cool stuff. But I'm good, man. I still got more to come. And the more you branch out, the more, if something does go wrong, you've got other stuff to rely on. So
I just recently shared one of my biggest failures, which I'm okay with it, but goddamn, it really tested me. You know, as everyone knew, I had chondro eggs, and you know, they made it very far. And let me just say that I had 11 alive chondros at one point, you know, and to kind of rewind things before we even get further into this, I had 2 chondro clutches before this chondro clutch. And those were incubation process were terrible. Like, I fucked those 2 up. Let's just say that. Okay. The first one, I forget how that went down, but it didn't work out. And then the second one, I moved the thermostat probe, like the thermos. Okay. First off, I don't know why I wanted to put the thermostat probe inside the egg box, but I put it inside the egg box. Not that that was a bad thing, but that's where it was. And then after talking to my boy Socrates, he asked me, he's like, why did you do that? He's like, why don't you just leave it where, leave it in the, kind of dangling or wherever you needed it inside the incubator. And I was like, shit, why did I do that? So what did I do? I removed the fucking probe on like day 30 or something. I removed the probe. And now completely fucked everything up. And now all those eggs, there was 14 eggs. Okay, so let's rewind this. The first clutch, 16 eggs, because of my incubation process was shit. All 16 went down to 1. Only 1 made it. And then here we are again, second clutch, 14 eggs. And then because I did this switch, shabam, all the way down to 3, only 1 made it after that. So then just 1, okay? So here we are, right? Here we are. And then keep in mind, the last clutch I had was in 2020. 2021, I had no chondro clutch. So here we are, fucking 2022. You would think your boy's ready to rock and roll, which I was. I was like, all right, here we go. I was like, I want to make sure that incubators are good to go. I want to make sure everything's straight. So I don't know what I was fucking thinking, but I go to my incubator and I unplug everything and I replug it back in. I just want to make sure it's fucking good. I'm like, I want to make sure there's not going to be no issues. But what I did was, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I put the fucking fan plug, what was powering the fan, which should have went to directly. So I had the fan and the heat plugged into the thermostat, meaning the fan was only turning on when the thermostat was turning on, basically. So when the chondro eggs were coming out, the ones who pipped had no air circulation, basically suffocated, and I killed 9 of those motherfuckers because of that failure, bro. But 3 of them are alive. Go ahead.
I made that same mistake. I caught mine in time, but it happens, man.
I couldn't believe it, bro. I thought everything, because I was even checking throughout the incubation process, like the fan on. Okay, the fan's on. I don't know why either the fan was always turning on. Well, it would make sense because if I opened it, it was. So anyways, all I knew is when I finally figured it out, I was like, you got to be shitting me. I could not believe the fan was not plugged in properly. And what are you gonna do, man? Third mistake. There you go. I mean, but listen, I have 3 chondros, knock on wood, even though but I have 3 alive neos, versus only hatching out 1. So that it is progress. I mean, it's a baby step progress, but dude, you just gotta take it with a grain of salt, man. And it hurts, but you just gotta smile at it, bro. Like you're getting closer. You just get closer,
Accept the silver linings.
Exactly.
I had an incubation malfunction 3 years in a row, and it was the first few would come out fine. Halfway through the year, they wouldn't come out fine, and near the end, they would again. And I didn't know what the hell it was, man. So finally, I'm like, I got to stay home from work. I can't, this is fucking bullshit. I got to figure out, is this thing shutting off halfway through the day? We having power failures here? What's going on? When I leave for work in the morning, there's no sun coming through any of my windows or anything like that. So I'm sitting on the chair all day long. I'm just bunkered down for an 8-hour day staring at my incubator, and then I see the sun come in through a window, and it's way over in the corner, and it's coming across the room 2 3 in the afternoon. It hits the incubator door, and it was an aha moment. Holy shit, how long is this going to take? It took about 10 seconds, and the alarm was going off. Beep beep beep. Raised the temperature in the incubator so hot that it would cook for an hour or 2 and then go back down. So by the time I got home, I don't know, the incubator's looking fine. So it took that staying home and staring at my incubator all fucking day long. And now I tell everybody about that because it's probably not happening to anybody, but you never know. That's such a stupid thing to happen that it took me 3 years to figure that out. So
it's just one of those things where I don't know how I did that. Like, first off, why did I unplug everything? Everything was fine. Like, why the fuck did I unplug everything? Like, that was that's literally a like removing the probe out of the egg box move. Like, basically, it's exactly what I did. So, I mean, that's maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say being impatient. I think I was just overthinking. I was maybe overthinking the thing right there. I mean, like I said, that incubator was already running. I should have just left it alone, which I should have. But listen, should have, could have, fucking would have. Who gives a shit? It is what it is. You move forward. I'm moving forward. And let's see what happens next year. Okay. If I ever get anything, god damn. I'll tell you what, man. It's I don't know. It feels good talking about it because if I feel like if I didn't, I'd be like eat myself about it. So you gotta just fucking let it go. You know what I'm saying?
100.
That being said, let's kind of dip into when you started getting your feet wet with getting more clutches under your belt. When did you approach like seasons where you're getting your females to start laying for you? Like when did things really start rolling for you? Let's just say that.
So it was a slow progression, but that was 100% on purpose. I had several friends I was rolling with at the time that we all got into the hobby around the same time. And some of them made that classic mistake of picking up 150 snakes in the first year. And they're not around anymore, unfortunately, for obvious reasons. And you can't jump in that heavy when you're starting out. So Chris always taught me, pick a small number and stick to it. So if you fill that rack with 30 snakes, you're only going to have to get rid of adults next year when you want to hold something back. So take your time filling it up. Once it's full, only replace something if you got something better to go in, and don't expand. Pick a number and stick to it, because it is easier to manage a small collection. So I took 7 or 8 years growing the collection from, I think my first year I had 3 clutches, then I had 7 clutches, then I had 15. Then I had a bum year, like 4 clutches or something. Then up to 20. Then I moved my facility from Nilestown to here, and I had a bum year, like 3 clutches or something like that. And then up to 30, down a bit, and then this year I'll be up to 30 something. So it's been a slow progression, 5, 10, 20, all the way up to 30, and I want to get up to about 100 clutches a year.
Nice. You're pretty confident it was because of the move you had a terrible year, or not terrible year, but a bummy year that year, right? Because of that move, you would assume, or no?
Partially. I think I probably would have had a bad year anyway, but I picked up a new male, and he was my banger. I wanted to use him on everything, and he wasn't ready yet. So it was almost just, well, hold off, see if he's ready. He wasn't ready in time, so a lot of the girls just sat idle. So I did have probably 30 big females that didn't even see a male that year. And
right.
And what I did breed, I tried to breed about 15 pairings, and I got about 3. So,
okay. Now, I want to talk about, as far as, like I said, there's levels to this, different, as far as what you're breeding, the projects you're approaching in the ball python game. When did you really start throwing down investments? Like, as far as like, putting down money on snakes, and whatever is money to you, you know what I'm saying? Like the snakes that you're like, fuck, like this one's going to hurt, but you knew you had to do it.
Probably 3-4 years ago. I've been following my nose, and I still believe in following my nose more than I do in spending big money. So I've got projects that I'm confident are going to prove out and make me a lot of money over the years that didn't cost me jack. I saw it. I followed my nose on it. I picked it up for whatever it was going for, and I believe there's something in it, or I believe there's a new gene or whatever. But when I did finally start going after the good stuff, it was like puzzle and scaleless head, which was cool at the time. And they were $3,000-$4,000 animals or something like that. So I was making maybe one investment a year of $3,000 to $4,000. And I've been doing that every year since. So I don't pick up a bunch of animals every year. 90% of my collection I've produced myself. I just weave shit. When something new comes out that I just got to have, I look for the very best of that, and then I bring that in. So I believe I have the very nicest super pastel puzzle in the world. I've got some of the nicest jags in the world. I've got some really nice stuff because I looked really hard for it and I paid a little extra for it. So
don't take this personally in any way, okay?
No, hit me.
How's that scaleless project working out for you?
So when I said I never lost any money on anything, I never lost any money on it, and that's what counts. So right. I bought it for 35. I turned 10 profit in the first couple of years. And I am looking to phase my way out of it. I think the scaleless heads are amazing. It's too bad that the scaleless isn't. They're really cool pets, but I'm not in this to sell pets. I'm in this to sell really cool investment puzzle pieces to somebody who's going to take it and make something even cooler with it. And you just can't have 10 or 20 scaleless ball pythons. If you could, I would be into it. I love them. I love to hold them, everything about them, but they are work. So.
Let's be really real about a scaleless, scaleless heads. I think are sick as shit. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But when we're talking about a fully scaleless python, not even a pet owner is going to want that thing. You don't want to why? Because once they figure out how hard it is to get this thing to shed, and once it goes in the shed and it looks like fucking dog shit, like it looks like your thing is peeling, like everything's peeling. It just does not look appealing. I don't feel like an average person is going to want to see their snake go through that. Personally, that's what I feel like. So once I saw that, because you got to understand, I was on Miguel's ass about the scaleless project. My wife, she's like, I really want that snake. And I was like, dude, this snake does look sick. But then I kept seeing like people like, maybe not purposely, but showing their snakes shedding. And I was like, why does it always look like that? And then I would keep asking for pictures. And 9 out of 10 times they all shed like it. I mean, I don't think is there scaleless complete sheds? I don't know if they were just really bad at it. I don't know. It would, after I saw that, I was like, I'm good. I don't want to have to spend time dealing with this shit. And then I hear like there's a happy medium humidity spraying that you have to do, and it's really consistent. It just seemed like too much work. And it felt like something where once I found out there has not been one scaleless ball python on a clutch of eggs, I was like, clearly, like, this isn't going to be for the breeders. This will be for pet people. And I just didn't see myself selling scaleless pythons to the pet community. I just didn't.
No, I hear that. I think a lot of people give up on the proper humidity and whatnot. So I spent the first few months trying to get mine to shed perfectly, and I got 20 amazing sheds out of it and posted every one. And
Right.
But if you ignore that snake for 7 to 10 days, you're going to have a shitty shed, and you're going to have 2 or 3 of them in a row trying to get that thing moisturized and the proper humidity to get it back up to proper sheds again. So once you got it, you can roll with it. Pay attention to that snake every week. It'll be really cool. It'll give you good sheds. But you go away for, like I say, 10 days, you come back, you're going to spend the next 4 months trying to get that thing to shed properly again. A little hiccup in the program, and it pauses you, and it keeps you on pause for 3 months. So I've had that, like a small skin abrasion to where your normal snake would heal up in a few days. This thing took like 9 or 10 sheds, and they shed repeatedly. So it comes out of shed 24 hours later, its eyes are blue again. It's like a constant thing. So it's not for me. So I fell in love with them when I saw that first video, man. I had goosebumps. I was jumping around.
It's something crazy how they look. Like, trust me, when I saw I saw Nerd posting them, and like obviously first time I saw Barcheck, hatch his, and I was like, what is this? Like, I couldn't believe it. But it's just one of those things that I feel like shouldn't be here. It's not meant to be here. Like, it's still creation, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. I'm glad I didn't go off the deep end on it. Like, I could have.
Yeah, I know some guys invested big on that. So
yeah, for real. God bless them. But let me ask you this: if anyone's out there raising a collection and getting into projects as we speak, and they're looking to target the breeder customer side of things, not the pet customer side of things, would you recommend to stay away from the pure scaleless project if that's the case?
it depends on what your thing is. Like, some people like project animals, and it was really enjoyable for me for the first while to do that. But I'm busy with everything else, and I can't do it, and I don't have the time. To somebody else, that might be a fun snake. But I think for the most part, no, I wouldn't recommend getting one. I think 90% of people out there aren't going to have the patience for them. There's people who don't have patience for the silky dragons, and they've been around for a long time. It's just, take a little more care. But the silver lining in the whole thing, and I'm always looking for the silver lining, is I got a gene called Miyagi that popped out of my scaleless head stuff. And I think it's going to be Miyagi. I think it's going to be one of the coolest things I got. I'm shooting for a super in 3 different tubs right now. And if it's half as crazy as I expect it to be, man, that's going to be exciting. And that will be as a result of that scaleless. So that'll be a big silver lining if it turns out.
Did you have any of this
Miyagi, Daniel's son, Karate Kid.
All right, I'm high. Do you have any of this stuff on your Instagram?
Yeah.
All right. Tell me more about it. When I'm pulling up your page, kind of tell me more about what created this, how it was created, all that good stuff.
The first year I produced scaleless head stuff, I did 5 or 6 clutches, and I produced a couple of neat animals. They were different from each other, but they were different from what they should have looked like. But I didn't want to, there's something new in everything. So I sold those off. I don't want to chase after everything. But the second or third year producing them, I produced probably 10 of these just weird looking animals, man. They got Cheerios on them. They got open padlocks. They got brass knuckles. It's hard to explain. It's a whole look to them, and it's really obvious. But I still was only hatching out in the scaleless stuff. And then I finally hit 2 or 3 of them in non-scaleless version. And I'm like, fuck yes, it's not attached to the scaleless. So now, right now, I'm trying to prove a super. And next year will be my first year breeding without the scaleless, just Miyagis to lesser Miyagis and stuff like that. But
we have this Jaguar stuff too.
Oh, Jaguar is the shit, dude.
All right, let's get this Miyagi stuff out of the way. I want to check this out.
Yeah. So it'll be probably a ways down. I don't post it very often.
Let's see.
Keep going.
You're throwing a little bit of a clue right there. Let's see.
I got 1,500 picks. Who knows how far it is?
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn, that's sick. You do got a bunch of sick shit, bro, for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Keep cruising. I mean, you can see it pretty clearly, right? So just you can stop
Yeah,
it.
there's like two hatchlings on top of each other, and they're both like black, and they look like a common. Maybe you passed it.
I passed it.
I think so. Yeah, right there. There's two of them right
Right here?
there. Yeah, I know I'm pointing at a screen you can't see, but right in the middle there. Yeah, yeah.
These ones right here.
Those are mine. Those are a Miyagi and a scaleless head Miyagi.
Okay, so let's break this down. Okay, so what's going on in this? What's your theory on?
Well, my marker's on it, and there. So Cheerios, you see the Cheerios peppered on the top of them, little circles or whatever. Open padlocks, so it looks like a lock that somebody left the padlock top open on.
Okay, I just saw the Cheerios. That's sick. I didn't.
Yeah.
That's a repeat thing. Like you've repeated this.
Oh
like
yeah, I got 20 of these things.
Wow.
Yeah, all different severities of them, but 100%. The GHI wannabe alien heads. That's where you got a little alien head that looks like it wants to be on the side of a GHI.
Wow.
And all those things combined just give you an overall look. I notice all the hurricane guys like all these picks, so they're seeing the resemblance in it too. GHI guys are liking it too, which don't normally like my stuff. So I know that they're catching a glimpse of it. Okay, no, it's not, but hey, that's cool, and liking it. So it does have that look like it's a half a hurricane GHI. But what it looks like most is Het Monsoon. If you put Het Monsoons beside those, the strong ones look just like that, dude. So who knows, man? Who knows what it's going to turn out to be? So
this is a Kodam or recessive? You're thinking?
Based on these ones, Kodam, because those pop out to me. But I have lower expression ones that I got to piece it all together over the next couple of years. And if they turn out to be Miyagi's as well, then they're so low expression that I would have to call it a recessive.
So, and you haven't bred these back to each other yet or anything yet, right? Or you haven't tapped in yet to that?
Pulled my first clutch 2 days ago. Scaleless head Miyagi times scaleless head Miyagi. The top girl there, she's got 30 male follicles bred to that male right there right now. And a whole bunch of pos Miyagis where I just held back all my scaleless stuff from years. And now I'm just putting it all together in different combinations, trying to see if I can pop one out.
What if this is only something that is if the scaleless head gene is inside the snake? Do you think that's what it is too? Like it's something that's paired up with the scaleless, or do you think it's its own thing?
I think it's its own thing. Yeah, I right away started researching other people's scaleless stuff and every other gene on the market, trying to figure out what this was. And this pattern is not reproducing in other people's scaleless stuff. I can tell the scaleless by the split scales and the heads, and that's not a scaleless. And I have multiples that aren't. And then they're coming out with a few scaleless and a few non-scaleless, and the non-scaleless are showing the Miyagi. So it's making sense to me that it is its own thing at this point.
How many
several years?
How many eggs did you get?
6 in the first clutch. This girl's got about 6 in her belly, and I got a couple more with 6 or 7 palpated inside of them. So should have 15 or 20.
So there's a possibility you might get some sort of a super form of this.
I really hope, man.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of people following this right now, so there's a lot of people who want to know just what the hell I got here.
What if the super forms is all Cheerios down the fucking back? Like I'm talking about like a perfect Cheerio. That would be hard.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Excited for you, bro. That's huge.
Thanks, bro. I'm really excited too. If it don't work out, like I say, I'm branched off in enough directions. I won't cry about it, but I do have a lot of hopes in this, man. I've held back a full rack full of these things, following my heart on it. So.
Like this isn't gonna kill you. It's like like if it happens, fucking awesome. But if it doesn't, who cares? Like it's like you said, it's like you have a lot of other stuff going on which we haven't even tapped into yet. So this is just kind of like a little side biscuit that could just come through clutch, and you're just gonna. It could really be a game changer, you know.
I hope so. I did the same thing years ago. I seen a snake at Chris Towers' place, and there was supposed to be a lesser, and I'm like, that's not a lesser, dude. There's something going on with that. He's like, well, I came from an electric lesser clutch, but I don't think it's electric. And I'm like, well, it's fucking electric to me. I'll buy it. So I bought it, and I bred it to a bunch of shit. And that year I was hatching out weird stuff, man. And Chris put 2 electrics together and hatched out tri-stripes, and realized his electric stuff was holding his own line of tri-stripe from the wild. So it's his own line. So I quickly surmised, oh shit, all my electric stuff is 50% het tri-stripe. So just following my nose on that $200 lesser male led me to a half a rack of tri-stripes and het tri-stripes and stuff like that. So that's why I'm following the Miyagi so hard. I believe in myself like really hard, and I'm gonna follow it until I disprove myself or prove it. So
that's what you got to do, man. Like you want to talk about starting your own branch on something, like, bro, this is what I'm talking about. Like This is like saying, like, no, with all due respect, but like, fuck Abelka, Ozzy, and those guys. Let them do them. Like, go do your own thing. Like, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is sick, bro. And like, you understand, just by you dialing in and doing your own thing, things like this could possibly pop up at any moment. Like, that's the beauty about ball pythons. We're never gonna figure these things out. Like, we're never gonna outlive these morphs. They're always gonna be something stirring up and popping up out of the blue. You know what I mean? That's the beauty about working with these in captivity.
100%.
So. Damn.
Greg Graziani imported the pastel. Graziani line pastel, made it to Sean Bradley. Sean Bradley bred super pastels to normals, produced just pastels, sold them to another customer who's on his very first clutch ever, and that guy popped out the very first puzzle. Like,
wow.
The history of it's amazing. The spontaneous, the fact that just popped out after being in multiple big guys' collections. It took a guy with a single clutch to pop out the very first puzzle. So.
Right.
You just follow your heart. You never know, man.
So other than, this Miyagi, what can I say it?
Miyagi.
I don't know. I fucking love that movie. I just can't pronounce it right now. Miyagi.
I can't even.
Anyways, I'm sorry. So besides this Miyagi gene that you have going on, right? I mean, I want to kind of talk more about this Jaguar gene, because definitely not something that's brought up quite often on the show. I think, obviously, Mark and Jane brought it up last week. Shout out to Mark and Jane. But I want to know more about it. Let's talk more about this Jaguar gene.
Yeah. So like I say, I'm into the history of everything. So when I first saw that snake, I was at Mark's place, and he mentioned I saw the Jag at his place for the first time. And what I saw was a butter pin Jag, and it was glowing green, like an odium on steroids. And I just, holy shit, dude, you don't get that kind of green in a snake very often. So I said, I want to buy it, but I don't like impulse buying. Let me go home and think about it. But if I'm telling you that, you can expect me to be calling with a deposit later. I don't want to do it right now. So I left. I went home and did my research. And I had a friend hit me up, and he knew the original guy that bought the original project animal out of Nerd years back. So he was my inside scoop. He showed me baby pictures of my snake before Mark even had it, when it was in the last guy's hands. So the snake it was a project snake, super cool, went from Nerd to a guy named Ray Lee. He proved it out and messed with it for a few years. And like Mark said, he got out of the hobby and sold it all to Mark. From there, Mark showed it to me and Phil, and Phil bought in, and then I bought in shortly after, and then Justin Kobylka bought in, and in the first year I produced them, I sold to some real top dogs out there, like people who I don't normally sell to, and I won't even mention names or anything like that, but I sold probably 10 Jags for $70,000 or $80,000. So the project is super strong financial wise. Those are like single gene, easy project stuff. You start throwing it in the clown, you're at 10 or 15,000. We haven't even made a super yet. The super is going to be amazing. Mark's shooting for it this year. I'm shooting it for in a couple tubs as well. So the single gene, it's a pattern. It's its own pattern snake, and it changes color in whatever you put it into. And as it ages, it gets better and better. Like DG, but it doesn't look like DG. It just changes as it ages. It goes from a brown snake to a lime green snake that looks like it has a light bulb on inside of it. So,
I mean, I get the whole DG thing, but like, it's like, DG has more of that hypo look. You know what I'm saying? Like more hypo with a nice crisp pastel look to it, where this is like the contrast darker, like going the opposite way, but still, like, I see what you're saying, that the resemblance. I like it, man. It just makes me mad that there's so much stuff out there. Here's another thing. You know what I mean? It's like, there's that zebra. I mean, how similar is this in zebra? Are they similar at all, you feel like, or do you know anything about the zebra gene? I
don't. So people have thrown that comparison my way, and people have thrown Enchi my way, and it gets as ridiculous as Enchi. Like, that looks like a fucking Enchi. But I've had 10 people say that to me now. When you first see a new gene, I do it too. It's your automatic reaction. What does it look like? Is it out there? Does this guy have something maybe that's already out there? And I don't think it looks like zebra. It has resemblances, but this is like a super clean, nice zebra. No offense to the zebras. They're all speckled up and ugly, in my opinion. I'm not really down with them. No offense to anybody who's working with them. We got something really nice.
You went after the zebra project. I love it.
Really nice and crisp right here, man. This is something new. And I just don't think zebra touches it. I don't. If you see a green one on there, it's a butter Jaguar. That's my showstopper, man. It's an amazing snake. It shows what you can do by putting Jaguar to a butter. It turns it lime green. Just
Where's
amazing.
Is it up, or where we looking at? Oh, damn. Yeah, look at this little swole game right here. Damn, dog.
Woo!
Hard. I like that. I like that ink too. That's hard right there.
Thanks, bro.
I'm
I was
trying to-
118. Go ahead.
Go. No, what were you gonna say?
I was 118 pounds, and I decided to make a life change, man. And I cut out all the negative food and shit, and I started eating like a motherfucker, working out 800 push-ups a night for 2 years, and that was the result.
Good for you, man. How much you weigh? How much you weigh now?
Right now, I'm down to $125 again. I was at $130 there. So if you scroll down from the very top, maybe 6 in the middle, you'll see a big green snake.
Let's see. You said the very top, like this one right here.
Yeah. No, from yeah, right there, man.
Oh my god.
So that's a butter jag, and that thing was brown when it was born. They changed. Right now, it's even 3 times more green than that.
Oh my god, this is a het clown too.
Yeah, she's supposed to. Let me check. She's supposed to lay 3-4 days ago.
What'd you breed her to?
What I breed her to? Banana spot nose fire clown.
Okay.
So there's only guys made clowns so far is Phil Robinson that has shown them. They're amazing, man. Orange Dream clown, jag, and a jag clown was really nice too. And I know Justin's made a few because he showed some girls ovulating a while back or really big anyways, and they should have laid by now. So I think he's waiting for whatever, the perfect one to come out or whatever. But when Justin starts showing his jag stuff, then nobody's going to say what's jag anymore. It's going to be insane.
Power of the Justin Kabelka, man. All he has to do is say it on his fucking YouTube, and it's like, holy shit, everyone. Did you hear that? Did you just hear what he said?
Yeah, he blew that redhead up pretty good, man. I invested in the redhead because I knew that he was about to blow it up, and then he's just got that magic, man.
Yeah, I mean, but you gotta understand, like, think about if Justin just was a dickhead who just did not like to share information. You know what I mean? Like, this would be a whole nother game. Like, it probably wouldn't be as fun. Probably a lot more bitter people, a lot more fucking competition, which competition is like you should only be competing with yourself, right? So I don't know. I not that Justin's the only one that shares information, but like I always say how that's back in the day, the era was not to share information. You know what I mean? Like that's people hoarded that shit, or they gave you wrong. I mean, people still to this day will give you wrong information. They'll, that's what I'm saying. You always tread carefully who you get information from, especially if you're like me, because I have a lot of good people that I like that I trust, but sometimes they all have different information. You know what I mean? Sometimes they have different advice. So you take it, you take it little by little, and then you make your own best judgment. Let me ask you this: has there ever been a point in time where you approach somebody with their opinion on something, and then you kind of went the other route and it was the exact opposite, and it kind of confused you, and you're like, I don't know what to do now? Has that ever happened?
I'm having a hard time bringing one up, but I know I've thought about it before, and I've thought to myself, shit, he tried to tell me that years ago. I should have listened. I thought I was right, and it took me 5 years to realize I was wrong. I can't remember what it was, though. I was thinking it not too long ago. But I've definitely done that, man. I try to take, depending on who I'm taking it from, right? Like when I was listening to Chris, I took 99% of his advice. Occasionally, I'd go the other way with it, and I would usually regret it, man. The guy just is a wealth of knowledge, 15 years of experience before I met the guy. So I should listen to everything he said. And once in a while, I'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And I'd go my own way, and fuck, that'd be a mistake. So it depends on who you're taking the advice from. From other people, I don't listen to shit, man. I prove everything out myself. If you say a spider makes a white snake that dies, I don't believe you. I had to do it myself to find out. It's just everybody says shit and they passes it on 10 years down the road. Nobody's actually done it. They're just passing on the same information. So I do like to prove it wrong myself unless it comes from a reputable person.
I like to share the piece of information I was given that was that misled me for a good year and a half. And that is snakes do not eat once they ovulate. Okay.
Yes. Or right up to ovulation.
I had this dickhead who fucking sold his whole collection over a divorce and just never like disappeared. And he told me that, I was sending him pictures like, dude, do you think this is a prelay shed? She's still eating. He's like, oh yeah, she's still eating. Oh, that means she's gonna give you good eggs, like that's good. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But no, that's not good. Like, the food, her turning off food is like, that's one of the signs, and me being such a noob, and this was also my problem too, is I wanted a first clutch right away. Like I was trying to get a clutch. Like I really, really wanted one instead of just kind of just chilling out and just like, I was really rushing for it. But because of that, I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. And I had this guy who I was listening to at the time, really, sending me for a ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Yeah, anyone out there, just letting you know, if you think your snake's about to lay eggs and she's eating, no, stop.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's like,
no. And the better you feed them, the earlier they go off. Mine usually go off a month and a half before they ovulate because they're just full of food and they don't need it anymore. They refuse the last 4 meals. So,
since we're on the topic of that, I mean, one thing that it's hard because I have a habit of like feeding my snakes. Like I'm very scheduled, right? And I'm feeling like once these snakes hit an adulthood and once they get old enough, you could throw that schedule kind of out the door. I feel like I don't feel like, once these snakes are so big that they need every 7 days or anything like constant like that. Obviously, timing's everything. If it's breeding, then that matters, right? But I just feel like the whole feeding thing, and I'm mainly talking like this because of the chondros and the emeralds. I'm approaching that and thinking about that. But I mean, how are you really approaching your adult females when it comes to feeding them, breeding, and then not breeding them? Like, what's your schedule when breeding your adult? When feeding your adults?
So that's continuously changing. I have my own rodent business. I'm lucky. So for the longest time, I was feeding twice a week for a few years, and it was just a waste. They're double shitting, so you're not getting everything out of the meat you're putting into them. It's easier just to feed them once a week. So I eventually, after a few years, went down to feeding them once a week, and it was always the biggest prey I could. And then eventually, I started to just gauge what the female looks like. If I think, nah, you're good, I'll go 2 weeks. So maybe I'll give her a medium every week, or every 2 weeks. I start to gauge it when I think is right by looking at her or whatever. And then you had Mark Bailey on your show, and that was one of the best episodes I've heard on your thing so far was Mark Bailey. And when he went into the feeding thing, it got me and a whole bunch of guys all of a sudden talking online like, hey, dude, did you see that episode? Dude's only feeding this time of the year. What the fuck? And it got us rethinking it. And this year I went into things a little differently, and I stopped feeding my females through a part of the year, and I'm going to start up again July, and then power feed them July through to breeding season. So right now I don't feel the need to go into every large tub and feed them every single week. It's just not needed. But coming up soon, when I start stacking them for the fall, then I will.
I'm just more like, I got to some sort of a habit where like I would get in a position where like either I'm traveling or I'm going to leave. So I didn't order rodents for that week. So I'm like, I'm not going to feed them this week. And I noticed how like that wasn't really a bad thing. Like actually gave them that week off, especially after they've been eating so consistently. Having an extra week or even 2 weeks of them not eating is not going to hurt them whatsoever, especially if they've been pounding food. What the last thing you want is them getting backed up. You know what I'm saying? Because that could happen very easily. There's some ball pythons that just choose to hold on to their shits versus just letting it out.
Yeah, that works good with the bigger girls. The 1,000 gram and under, I do worry about that. If I miss that schedule, I go from 7 days to fuck it, I'm going to do 10 days for the next few and then go back to 7 because I got shit to do or whatever. I screw shit up. They go off food sometimes when I do that. When I skip from that every 7 days at dinner time, you come in 9 days and all of a sudden they're not hungry for some reason. And so it's just the smaller ones, but I do notice that I got to keep on a schedule with them. With the older ones, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. As far as establishing your ball python goes, especially because you have your rodents, is your first go-to is rat, or do you like to offer like a hopper mice? Like what is your first approach with that?
Definitely rat. When I used to breed mice by the tons, and I fed everything mice to start, and then I found it a slower switch. So if I got 7 on mice right away, then maybe 2 of them would jump to rats on the first try, and it would take me a month or 2 to get them all to jump over. Whereas if I just start with rats to begin with, you get a couple holdouts, but it's less than trying to switch them from mice to rats. So I start with rats, whatever takes it, and those mousers, sometimes they hold out for a few months before they jump to rats. So
I think the time, was it this time last year? No, a little bit later on. But it was last year. I had Nicole Lyons on the show, and
shout out Nicole.
And Nicole told me how she goes the first rat approach as well. And I had, like I said, I had like 3 or 4 snakes that just weren't eating, and I was trying to give them hoppers. I put a rat, and they fucking murdered that thing, and I was like, wow. I was like, but it could go the other way too. I mean, snakes could just be funny, you know what I'm saying? So, but after that experience, that whole year, I just gave first offer was a rat, and they took for the most part. But like you said, it was maybe a couple that maybe wouldn't take the first try, but the second time around they would take it. You know what I'm saying? Because you also have to keep in mind if a snake's not taking a meal, like also look at the size too. You know, it can either be too small or too big. You got to find that happy medium. That width of the body, I feel like, is perfect. You know, and I don't know. You got to look at a lot of things. But at the end of the day, a ball python will eat when it wants to eat. You know.
Yeah, and the growth rate is so much better with a rat. So 3 meals in with a rat, you sell that snake, I feel confident. 3 meals in with hoppers, I don't. I'd rather make it up to 7 meals or so before I sell that snake because you don't get much meat out of a hopper. So,
are you trying to is your goal is to get this snake to be taking frozen thawed before you sell it off, so it can kind of do both, or are you only selling like snakes that eat live?
Only live. I had someone that asked me that the other day. Don't I feel bad that my snakes don't get held enough and something or other? I don't know what she was calling me out on, but shit, I forget where I was going with that. Can you repeat the question? It's probably the first time it's happened.
What did I now my mind went blank. Hold on, what was the question?
Shit.
It was about feeding, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Dude, somebody help me in the chats. Wow,
Yeah,
my mind just
once I lose it, it's gone.
Yeah, hold on. It was once. Oh, yes, my bad. I remember. Don't need your help. Thank you. The frozen thawed thing. So, you selling a snake that eats frozen thawed in live, and then, you said you had some girl coming at you about the not having
about snappy snakes. I was having to tell her that as breeders, we prefer our snakes to be snappy. So live will make that thing jump around and catch it right away. It's on guard. It's going after a live prey item. I like that. So I feed nothing but live. And do I deter from them trying to be snappy like that when I'm selling them and whatnot? And I told her, no, not at all. I'm not selling to pet owners for the most part. A well-adjusted snake that's going to be a good adult is a snappy snake that bites at anything that moves. That's its natural reaction. You want to keep that for as long as you can. It's you want to turn it into a pet, but the truth is it's a snake, and that snappy reaction is good for it in the long run. So I encourage it. Live feeding all the way for me.
I always tell them they're food happy. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get bit. Well, is there food around? What's on your hand? And then they're like, oh man, you're right. I just had a hot pocket.
And learn to embrace the bite. I enjoy getting bit. It's not that big a deal.
So I want to talk about as far as what's happening this year for you. Here we are, 2022, about halfway through the year. How many clutches are you at? What are you looking to hit at the end of the year? Let's talk about that.
18 in the incubator. I think 3 hatched out so far. A couple more due today, tomorrow. So I should hit 32 or 33, and that's with my monumental fuck up. I should have had probably 50 clutches this year, but 30 something's good for me, man.
And you're looking to hit 100 at some point. That's your goal, right? Like that's your end goal is 100.
Yeah, I'm shooting for the nice animals. So if 100 clutches, I'll end up wholesaling a good amount of that lower ball stuff, and then bringing the rest to the shows, and then the higher end stuff will go online. And I think I can handle 100 clutches. So it's working up your clientele and the belief in yourself to where, can I sell 300 snakes in a year? Because years ago I watched a video with Mark Mandic, and he was describing how much money he made, and I couldn't believe that somebody was talking about that back then, because nobody was. And He's saying, I'm trying to make 1,000 snakes worth $200 a piece to make 200 grand a year. I throw 100 back into the business, I make 100 grand. And I thought, holy shit, he just did the math for me, man. That's so simple. And then the practicality of it is, can I sell 1,000 snakes in a year? Fuck no. I don't know 1,000 people want to buy snakes. So I had to change that a bit to maybe 100 snakes at $2,000, and you're still making 200,000. And so that's how it works. So I want to get up to 100 clutches. I think I can handle that at this point.
How are you, tell me more about the wholesaling side of things, because if you have let's just say you have a bunch of highways, right? And you wanted to wholesale a bunch of highways. How is that priced? Obviously you're not going to sell them what you have it priced on Morph Market, right? There's a group discount or something that happens, but tell me how your wholesaling works when you do wholesaling.
The wholesalers that I deal with, and I deal with 3 of them, they do not want high-end stuff, and highway is just, it's borderline. We can sell that, but that's getting a little too high-end, man.
Okay.
They want the single gene shit. Don't even tell me what it is. It's going into a tank that says fancy balls. So that's what they want.
Okay.
And literally, they do not even want you to label it. They sell it in a bag of 100 to pet stores, and they put it in a tank, call it fancy balls, and that's how the wholesale works for me. And then the middle of the line stuff, anything that's if I'm working on visuals and I got hets for it, I'll probably sell that at an expo or locally, try and get other people into the cool projects and whatnot, because you're not going to get any het money out of your wholesale, and they don't care what it's het for. So,
damn. See, I don't like wholesaling.
no, I don't either. But it's I can't sell 20 lessers in a year. So
I feel you. Yeah, no, I feel you. When it comes down to that, I hear you, and it's just like that's why I'm very careful that I have to sit on shit like that, which is still a possibility, especially when now we're talking about going over these double, triple recessive projects. Motherfucker, you're gonna be hitting nothing but just like normal looking shit and stuff like that are all heads, and you know. I mean, so let me ask you this. When it comes to you having something that's either a normal or single gene, really powerful het, what are you doing with that? Like, because sometimes it's hard to sell a snake like that. You know what I mean? It's hard. And you don't want to fucking like, you know, make yourself seem desperate, but like, how are you handling that?
So I just started making triples and quads this year. I only know one other friend who's made them, and he sold a lesser quad het, and just to the guys that the guy who's breeding it is going to hold back everything and put it back to that male and figure out what's what down the road. He's happy with holding back 10 hatchlings and breeding them back to that. So that's a project animal for the odd person who's willing to really, you know, I'm going to go for a quad het worth tons of money for very low money. I don't know what he sold it for, probably $1,000 or something like that. But
can we do a little timeout real quick? Shout out to Mark Mandic being in the building.
Hey, Mark.
But also shout out to you if you hit the like button. Not a shout out to you if you haven't hit the like button. I don't know how we're only at 25 likes. And there was over 50 people at one point tapping in for my man, Michael Graham. Let's get the likes up. Canada, if that's especially Canada, there not be no Bob Smiths in the building for my boy, Michael Graham this morning. Can we please get the likes up for my homie? And Marcus Jane in the building. Likes, get them up. Mark, I already know Mark hit the like button, but I appreciate you so much. Shout out to the OG in Canada right here. I love Marcus, man. What a guy.
Shout out to everybody that's in the chat tonight. I see you on the side here. Khalil's my boy. Morphin Dorphins, Genetic. I love all those guys, man. We're a big family up here.
How come Khalil didn't say hi until Mark said hi? Why do you have to do that for, Khalil? Like, at least
he's sneaky like that. He's hiding in the shadows.
He does not reveal anything. He just likes, he's in the shadows until you see his hair and you're like, wow, who's that handsome guy?
There he is. Yeah, there's the cardigan. Did you you seen his art that he had on his wall and on the episode you had him on there?
It looks like it's behind you, you sick bastard. I'm one of those.
That's the #1 piece he's talking about that he sold, man. That I tripped mushrooms for like 8 hours and disappeared into that thing a few months back. It's insane.
Dude, I love it. That's a fun time. That thing's awesome.
Yeah, he's got mad skills, man. He underrates himself because he should be putting everything into to follow that, I think.
Let me ask you how you were able to build, I know you had the relationship with Chris Towers, right? And you were able to build that, but how did you tap in with all the other heavy hitters in Canada? Were you going to shows, or like, how are you really getting able to build this community around you?
I had a small mission. So when I started breeding rats, it was find anybody who's worth their salt in breeding ball python and become their supplier at any cost. I found the 3 or 4 top dogs in my area. I started supplying Chris. I supplied Corey Woods for a while. I supplied Peter Williams Reptiles for a little bit, and now he has his own rodent business that rivals mine. And so I tried to find guys that were already in it that I could become friends with. And those laneway talks you're talking about, man, when I drop off rats or whatever, and we have those 2-hour laneway talks where we're geeking out on snakes, those are the happiest moments of my life. And there's been dozens and dozens of them over the years. And that's how I got to know all these guys, standing at the end of their laneway, talking about our love for ball pythons, handing rats over until we eventually became friends. And now when we're booking our shows, we're like, book me beside each other and stuff like that. So,
bromance.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I say, when I go up to Montreal, I visit all these guys on the screen and more. We're all connected up here, man. It's a big family. There might be a little bit of shit here and there, but as a whole, we all get together and it's good times, man. Canada strong.
Let's talk about some other good times.
Yeah,
Nido virus.
Woo! Good time.
No, okay, seriously. Now, I only bring this up because of shows that happen. Obviously, there is a bit of a biggest reason why I'm so hesitant to ever want to do a show is just to expose my snakes to other people's neglected animals, because no matter how sick your shit is or your homie shit is or their homie shit is, there's that one table that's like, holy fuck, why are you here? This is terrible. So with what's been happening lately, conversations about like, you know, Nido and all that. What's your I don't know. Are you on edge? Are you alert? I mean, are you scared to do shows now because of, you know, what's being said about, you know, Nido really being in people's collections and them not giving a fuck? Like, what's your really stand on that right now?
As far back as I can remember, it's been either Nido or mites or periscoping or something. There's always something that's out there that everybody's talking about that they haven't heard of before. So it's a new topic and it seems really important. And it seems like it's just started happening, but it's been around a decade. And some of us who have been around a little longer have seen the waves of it come and go, and not the waves of illness, the waves of it becoming viral. So I heard of Nido years ago. We all discussed it amongst each other. And then I heard it again a couple of years ago, and now it's coming up again. And it's usually a pet owner that just you know, they take it in and figure out what happened to their animal, and they figure out they had it, and they go apeshit about it. It's not a huge problem as far as I see. I don't know. I know one person, who's lost their collection to Nido. They battled it for several years, but I know hundreds of breeders, and I don't see 6 snakes. I don't see Nido up here. I have 120 females. I don't have a 6 snake. I haven't lost a snake to anything like an RI or anything like that since 2013. When I first got in, I lost 5 because I brought one in and just got a bunch sick, and I didn't know any better back then. But I don't personally see very much illness. I hear it, but I don't see it. So to me, it falls on buyer beware. You know, when I bought my first dog years ago, I brought it into the vet and I had it hip checked and all that because Rottweilers are known for hip dysplasia. Yeah. It turned out that the thing was going to have hip problems by the time it turned 5 or 6. I brought the dog back. I got an exchange. Buyer beware. I'm glad I covered my own ass. You can't expect that dog guy to test for every last thing that can happen to a dog, waste all his profits he's going to make on his puppies trying to figure out what could go wrong with a dog. Buyer beware. I took care of my own. So I do believe in that. I've had several customers, especially the higher end ones. Those are the guys who are testing for Nido. They got collections worth $1 million or more. They don't want to bring a Nido snake into their collection. Test what you're buying. So I believe in proper testing. I think it probably should fall on the hands of the purchaser. And I'm a purchaser too. So when I bring in a new snake here and there, it's on me to make sure. I don't want to have to test 200 snakes. I'd rather test a snake coming in, make sure I'm not infecting what I already have.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the only freak out is somebody who's just finding out about it, right? Or the only big freak out are people who are just so fucking new into this, and they like, you know, and there's people who just like freaking out. Like there's freaks, like, you know, Facebook people and other people. There's people just like the whole FBI community thing, fucking freaks. You know what I mean? Not gonna lie. Yeah. Oh, weird. If you're in that group, you're weird. I'm sorry, you're weird. But anyways, I don't know where I was going with that, but oh yes, I know now. So at the end of the day, like we were saying, this is something that's been around. There was this Nido fucking wipeout thing back in the early 2000s that were hitting people's collections, and we surpassed it. Now we're here. All you can do is really manage what you have and manage what leaves. I could tell you right now, whatever's an adult, whatever's grown at this point, is not leaving. Even at ball python, you know, obviously I'm not going to keep breeder ball pythons forever. I mean, I already have a handful of breeders that I produced that are just kind of outdoing their time here. I think next year is going to be their time. They're going to leave, but every single one of those adults will have a Nido test with them. You know what I'm saying? Just to back myself up. You know, and I can say right now, the only snakes that I for sure have Nido test on are all this other than the emeralds, but every chondro in this fucking podcast room has a Nido test. But if you were to tell me to do that to all the 200 plus ball pythons that I have in there, like what? Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to Nido test everything. You kiss my ass. Like whatever. If let's just say there is quote unquote Nido in my trap, then that's my problem. I have to figure it out. And you know, but I'm saying as of right now, to my knowledge, and I've had Nido test ball pythons before, just not all of them. There's no Nido from what I know. So that being said, I'm not going to go test all my fucking snakes. I'm going to handle it if it pops up. Then I'm like, oh shit, now we have to address it. Now that being said, a lot of from what is on record and from what we know, Nido is not transmittable to the hatchlings. Like once the hatchlings are born, you know, like they don't carry it. So I feel like another big safety net that anyone could do out there is just have a hatchling room. Like have a hatchling room or have something where the hatchlings are away from all the adults and they're doing their own thing just as a safety net. You know what I'm saying? And also protection. But if anything that's not leaving, that's an adult, I mean, I feel like you're good. But I mean, to teach their own. You got to change something at this point, because we're in a stage where, if you aren't careful and you do sell sick snake by accident, and you to the wrong person, let's just say a pet person, it's not going to be good. They're going to make a fucking scene, and then you're going to look like this fucking asshole, and you're going to be like, oh, what the fuck, So you gotta just be careful, That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because also, Mike, I will say, every time this is mentioned, like this, I got a snake with Nido, or I got a snake with this, and that, and it's put on a fucking platform and it's exposed, dude, that makes us all look bad. That makes every one of us look bad, to where, let's just say the wrong fucking Karen PETA person's just messing around like, wow, what is this? Oh, I better report this. There's this bunch of breeders with all these sick snakes, and they're selling them. Like, dude, hello, like, that is not what we need right now. Like,
no, 100%. And quite often those pet people get out. They're not into snakes forever. They're in it for 2 or 3 years. They cause a big ass fuss, and then they become the PETAs of the world. Or like you say, they're following that believes that we're all a bunch of snake farming freaking maniacs. They bite that up, and then they use it against us. So
yeah, shit. We even had one girl who made a big fuss about her sick snake that threatened that breeder to go to PETA. So wow, what kind of fucking keeper are you?
Yeah.
You're already your first bad transaction, which everyone has a bad transaction. Everyone, you're gonna get fucked in this at least once.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it mean you should just say I'm going to PETA? Like, where are you? Damn, like, that's just like, I couldn't believe that. I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy things, especially having a podcast and getting thrown in the mix of a couple things. I've seen a lot, you know what I'm saying? That right there kind of takes the cake right there. Going to the one true devil, the one true enemy, the one true monster, the monster. Their PETAs are monsters. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're very bad. That's a very bad fucking organization. And I have no problem saying that. I've seen stories ever since I was a kid. I knew PETA was bad. I don't know what it was. I forgot what it was. But anyways, yeah, fuck that. If that's your motive, and you keep animals, don't keep animals. Go to PETA. Go do your fucking thing if that's the case. You can't be like this with animals and PETA. That's just, go figure your shit out. What the fuck? That is just weird.
They get likes out of it. I remember a few years ago, the cool thing was to go into any local pet store, film an animal in the window, talk about how the thing's got a shitty life, and then post it all over Facebook and Instagram and stuff. I sell to pet stores, and there are pet stores out there doing it right, and there are pet stores that aren't. But it just gives a bad name to the entire industry when your whole YouTube content is, I'm going to go fuck somebody's day up. I'm going to go in their pet store and make them look bad. It's negativity, man.
Not all pet stores are the same. I will say that. But it's hard to maintain a pet store. Like, really, to maintain it, keep it clean, you need a fucking crew. Like, it's really hard. That's why, shout out to Pet Kingdom. They do a pretty good job here in San Diego. They've been around for years, and that's one place I don't mind going to. And same with up. Shout out to homie Matt. But Pet Kingdom's awesome, and it's just like, I feel like if there is a good pet store that you really love or you believe is doing it the right thing, I feel like you should sort of invest in them and go fucking kind of like, team up with them, because one thing that every pet store, a good pet store should have, or every pet store period should have, U.S. art collateral all up in it, or just like something to where let's get more people to want to protect these animals for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Southwest Pet in London here is where they buy 40,000 rats off me a year, and every one of their staff is over dedicated to what they do there. So Dean from Canadian Balls, he's in charge of the ball python area. Cody Holman from Leviathan Reptiles, he's in charge of all the lizards and stuff like that. And he's like a lizard nut, man. He's got 1,000 lizards in his apartment, every different kind, breeding them and stuff. So every one of their guys they got working there, and girls, is like, they're taking their work home with them. They love what they do. You can't ask them something and stump them. They know what they're doing. So that's why that's one of the pet stores I recommend. You go into the chain stores and they don't really, they're hiring somebody straight out of high school that doesn't have a pet. So
damn, before we get into the wrap-up question, boom, Will Morrow's in the building. Another heavy. God damn, all the Canadians' finest is up in the live chats today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Shout out to Will Morrow's. Very, very player individual. But yeah, man, I got a wrap-up question for you before we get into some hot seat questions here. As far as you being in the Canadian market, and I don't know, have you sold anyone in the United States yet? Do you have any customers in the United States yet? First off, before I get into
all over the world, brother, all over the world.
Perfect. So you're global. What's your true opinion about having the game plan of getting into this, but focusing on only the high-end stuff versus having a happy medium type projects. You know, you have people that have a little bit of everything, right? But you have some people that just believe in just going into the high-end stuff. And what I mean is, do you feel like it doesn't make sense only trying to produce snakes that are $5, $10, $15, $20,000 because it's going to be hard to sell? And I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I think if you got animals worth 15, 20 grand, you've probably gone through the learning curve of realizing already that you can't sell 100 of those in a year. You're picking and choosing. There's people calling you here and there looking for the high dollar stuff, but it doesn't turn over like the smaller stuff. So if you're so high that you've made it to where all you're producing is $10,000 or $20,000 animals, you've got to have learned that already, and you got to know that. If you're just coming in and you plan on doing that, that's probably not the way to go. The way to go is to shoot for the odd really cool one and piece off the smaller stuff. You can't be hitting 300 bangers every year because the world's going to be full of bangers and the money and the price is going to come down on things. And you got to work your way into the projects. And
bangers are premeditated for the most part. Like, you have to literally work your way up for that banger. Like, you know, like I don't think people understand when, you know, Will or, you know, Levance or Justin or one of those big fucking players drops something like that people like feel like they've just been shooting for like the last couple of years or something. Like, dude, no, like they've been fucking working for this shit. Like, it all leads up to something. That's why I feel like if you're definitely trying to get into this game, shooting for the high-end stuff, I hope you have no plans on really making much money for the first fucking few years, because you should, all you should be wanting to do is hold things back, because it's going to take a lot of snakes with these numbers that you have to play. Like, why do you think Will holds so much shit back? Like, he's trying to hit shit. Like, Will's not trying to fucking shoot for the dark and hope to hit something. Like, he's trying to hit shit consistently. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and you get a lot of holdbacks, you know?
Will does the same thing. He's not breeding triple visual to triple visual. He's breeding them to opposite shit, trying to make more puzzle pieces. The game never ends. And as soon as you start looking at it like this is the end game, then that's the end game. So it's always a step past that. Don't be constantly making visuals. Put a hat to your visual, improve your game, keep moving forward. And guys like Will are awesome at that. So
guys like Will are awesome. So are Khalil. So is everyone. Anyone in Canada. And then you got, you know, Michaela. Did I say her name right? Oh my God. Hold on.
Mariah.
I'm so sorry, Mariah. I'm just really high right now. I don't know why I want to call her Michaela, but Mariah, very player Canadian individual as well.
She chums up.
Say what?
She chums with Michaela, so you probably heard the name.
Okay. I don't even know who Michaela is. I don't know what I don't know. But anyway, shout out to Mariah. Thank you for being here. But Mariah does have a crazy way of spelling her name, which it's very unique, but it's I don't know. I
never noticed.
Yeah. All right, listen, great episode, man. Let's get these hot seat questions in, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. All right, how's that sound?
That sounds great, brother.
All right, bro. Here we go. Hot seat questions for the homie Michael Graham. Black Heart Exotics coming in hot. You ready for these?
Yep.
All right. Hot seat questions. Frozen Thought or live?
Live.
A cut or no cut?
Cut.
On what day?
55.
Red Chondro Neo or yellow Chondro Neo?
Oh, red.
Pre-first shed meal or post-first shed meal?
Pre-first shed meal or post? Post.
Yay imports or boo imports?
Ball pythons, yay.
It doesn't work like that, sir.
Nay.
Reptiles, if you had to make the law on being able to import reptiles, is it yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Said that with no energy. What about one reptile you could import to your collection? Any reptile, what would it be around the world? What would it be?
Be a different morph of ball python. That's my game, man.
Okay. And what about one reptile nobody should ever import ever again? Leave it alone.
Anything that's having trouble in the wild, leave it.
Yay sports or boo sports?
Boo sports.
Big flexor or no flexor?
Come on, bro.
Let's go. Steak or fish?
Shit. Fish.
Favorite fish, like favorite fillet that you like. Like, what's your favorite fish dish?
Perch.
Okay. Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
Boo.
Nice. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
Hard. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
West.
Favorite West Coast rapper of all time?
Oh, Tupac.
Little word association. First thing to come to mind. Milk.
Boobs.
One recessive you would add to your collection today.
Oh shit.
Got him.
Sunset.
Favorite Kodom?
Jaguar.
Least favorite Kodom?
Oh shit. Spider.
Milk.
Cookies.
Substrate.
Cocoa.
Ovulation.
55 days.
FedEx shipping.
Don't use them.
Facebook groups.
Drama.
If you had to get rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, is it going to be Instagram or Facebook? Which one needs to go?
Goddamn. Facebook.
There you have it. Michael Graham. Hey, bro, we literally had well over 50 people in this podcast all tapping in, spending their Saturday with us. What do you have to say to everyone tapping in, showing you support?
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. I wanted to shout out two people real quick. Jason Thomas, Nyoka BALLPYTHONS. Solid Canadian. He'd be a great guest for you. Manny Singh, Operation Pythons, and William Nimick from Cold-Blooded Empire. Those are all my homies, and they're all good Canadians. So thanks a lot for having me on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you learned something. Right on.
Do me a favor. Can you shoot me those names to my DM so I can see, if they're down to come on the show?
100, bro.
I could build it. If you're out there, especially if you're his homie and you're in Canada, I will turn this Saturday to an only Canadian breeder fucking podcast. Only Canadian hitters coming on this show. If you could give me enough people. So give me those names. Let's see what's good.
Will do, brother.
Thank you, Michael. That's a wrap. Blackheart Exotics. Ladies and gentlemen. Dude, enjoy your Saturday. Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks, MJ.
Peace out. What a show. What a guy. Awesome guy, man. He has some fucking heat. That's for damn sure. Please go give him a follow on Instagram right now. That's Blackheart Exotics. Thank you for everyone who tapped in. Shout out to all the heavy hitters, medium hitters, new hitters, whatever. You guys were all tapping in. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to hit the like button. Really, show some respect to the homie Michael Graham. He killed it. He has a lot of shit that he's about to be hitting you guys in the forehead with. So like I said, go follow on Instagram, get the likes up. Shout out to the homie Michael Graham. What an episode. Don't forget, tomorrow, Holy Lizard Session. We have somebody tapping in all the way from the country of Australia. The homie Luke, Lizard Morphs, going down tomorrow, 1 o'clock afternoon Pacific Standard Time. Literally, man, this guy is he's a trip. He's a character, and I cannot wait to have him on the show. First time I'm having someone tapping in from Australia. So this is going to be huge for the Trap Talk Global bucket list. Australia, I'm tapping in. Be ready. It's going down tomorrow. Again, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for everyone who tapped in. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. You guys are real ones. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. It's your boy checking out.